Hi, and welcome to the 18th video in our Cybersecurity Lab for Beginners video series. In the last video, we took a look at Wazuh, the open source security platform, which combines your EDR, your SIM, IT hygiene, vulnerability detection. It does a bunch of different things, and we were able to configure that in our home lab and also onboard two agents. One was Windows, which was our Windows host hosting our VirtualBox environment. And we also took a look at installing it on our Kali machine as well. And today what we're going to be taking a look at is we're going to be taking a look at a closer look at the vulnerabilities that are detected in Wazuh, which is very similar to what we were doing with Nessus, but this is all done through the Wazuh agent that we configured on those hosts. And this is actually going to bring us into the next videos that we're going to be taking a look at, which is patch management to actually mitigate those vulnerabilities that we find in the software, not necessarily misconfigurations, because patch management does not fix misconfigurations. We would have to fix those in our OS configuration or application configuration, but we can definitely fix the ones where it's just an update that's missing, because there's a lot of software out there that doesn't actually do updates automatically, similar to how Google Chrome or Firefox or Edge does auto updates unless you turn them off. Things like VirtualBox, 7-Zip, Notepad++, there's a bunch more that don't auto update, which will cause you issues if there's vulnerabilities detected in them. You might just be sitting on software that has a bunch of vulnerabilities, and we're going to be taking a look at that today. But let's actually first encounter our first problem here, which I forgot my Wazuh password. Now, of course, there is that tar file which all the passwords are in, but let's say you actually deleted that as well. Today, we're going to be taking a look at also how we can reset that Wazuh admin password. So let's go ahead and let's first reset that password so we can log in to our Wazuh dashboard. So let's go ahead, let's open that Ubuntu server. I'm already logged in here. We can see that we can do an ls here. Now, I already have the password tools file, which is going to help us reset that password. So let's actually just go ahead and we are just going to remove that, that script. And there you are. So now we are at the starting point that you are going to be at. Maybe you deleted that tar file, which we still have it, but for the video purpose sake, we are going to pretend like we deleted that file. So the first thing we're going to want to do is download that Wazuh passwords tool script. So to do that, we're going to type in curl space -so space Wazuh -passwords -tools .sh space https://packages.wazuh.com/4.14/Wazuh-passwords-tool, not tools this time, just tool.sh. And we run that, and we're going to see that now we actually have that script there. Now, that first little section where we name it Wazuh-passwords-tools.sh, you can name that whatever you really want. That part is not really important. What's really important is that HTTPS, which that is where we're downloading that script from. Now what we're going to want to do is we're going to do a sudo space bash wazuh-p tab. It's going to tab complete that file that we named it, -u space admin space -p. Now this is where we're going to put the password. Now for the video's sake, I'm actually going to type in a password that's going to fail on purpose so I can show you guys what the requirements are for that password. So we're going to do test1234 with a capital T. And we're going to hit enter here. It's going to prompt us for our admin password. We're just going to put that in. And this is the admin password for your Ubuntu server. And it's going to give us an error that the password length must be between 8 and 64, which that we hit. At least one uppercase and one lowercase letter. We hit that with the capital T. and the rest are lowercase, a number, which we have 4 of them, but we need a symbol. Now, you're going to notice that it gives you also a parentheses and a bunch of symbols. These are actually the only symbols that are accepted. So if I try to just do a exclamation mark at the end of test 1, 2, 3, 4, it's actually going to fail just the same because the only symbols that it accepts is the dot, star, plus, question mark, and dash or minus, depending on how you want to look at that. So let's go ahead and let's make our password test1234 star with a capital T. And let's go and let's hit enter here. Now this does take a few moments and you're going to get some messages saying generating password hash. The filebeat.yaml has been updated to use the filebeat key store username and password. And then it's going to look almost as if it's frozen, but it is actually still working. We're going to get one more message. It's going to say warning that the password's been changed. There it is. So warning, password's been changed. Remember to update the password in the Wazuh dashboard, Wazuh server, and filebeat nodes if necessary, and restart the services. Now, because we've configured everything on a single node, we actually don't have to do this, but if you do have a multi-node setup, you will have to update that password everywhere else. But let's go ahead and let's just minimize the Ubuntu server here, and let's go ahead and let's log in now that I know the password. And just to show you guys, here's the password that we're putting in, which is the password that we just reset it to. And of course, I'm going to be changing this after this video. This is just a password for the YouTube video. This is obviously not a password I use in real life. Please use something more secure than test1234 star. But for YouTube's sake, this is going to be fantastic. Let's hit login. And we are now logging into our Wazuh environment here. It's just checking that API connection and checking that API version. And we are in. And we're going to see that we have one active and one disconnected. The disconnected is just my Kali machine here, which that is perfectly fine. It's turned off. I haven't turned it on for this video. The one that I'm actually interested in though is the active one, which is our Windows 11 host here. So if we actually click on that and we just take a scroll down here, we're actually going to see the vulnerability detection. And we're going to see that it shows 11 high and 5 medium. So let's go ahead and let's click on the 11 high here. And here you're actually going to see we have 11 high, but now we have 0 medium for some reason. Why did that change? When we actually click on these widgets on the dashboard, we're also applying filters as well. So here you're going to see that we have a filter here for vulnerability severity high. Let's go ahead and let's actually close. Let's just X out of that. And we're going to see that the 5 are now a medium severity. We also have 2 pending evaluations. So we might have more vulnerabilities once the Wazuh agent kind of does its thing and the Wazuh server kind of does its thing. But we can see that we have 11 vulnerabilities here. But what are those different vulnerabilities? If we just scroll down, we don't see exactly what they are, but we can see all the years that these vulnerabilities have been published. The OS families, now for me, it's just going to show Windows, but if you have multiple agents here deployed across multiple OSs, like if our Kali box was turned on, we would actually have 2 different colors here for Kali and for Windows. And we can see here the most common vulnerability scores. We can see here the most common one is an 8.2, and we have 5 vulnerabilities for that type here. But let's go ahead and let's take a look at what these vulnerabilities are. We can actually click on inventory here at the top, and this will actually show us the list of different vulnerabilities here. So you can actually see the 2 that are kind of pending. They just don't say anything. Now, one of the things you're going to notice here is we have a lot of Steam and the package version being 2.10.91. And you're going to see a lot of these vulnerabilities are dating for a long time. Now, one of the things about Steam, and again, this is going to be across all the different vulnerability detection software, is you do have to be careful for false positives. Now, The Steam version, if you go on the control panel, like if we go on the control panel of this host, we will actually see, if we go into programs, uninstall a program, we can see that the Steam is version 2.10.91.91, but it's actually not the version of Steam actually. So if we actually go onto our Steam here, we right click, we open file location, right click on it again, open file location. Now we're actually at the Steam application. If we go ahead and we right click on that and click properties and click on details, the version of our Steam client is actually 10.26.0.34. Steam auto updates, and if you go check the auto updates right now, if I went and go ahead and check that, you would see that it is actually fully up to date, and we can actually do that test right now. If we open up Steam and we go Steam and we go check for Steam client updates here, we will see that the Steam client is already up to date. And if we click on view patch notes, you're going to see that there was an update on November 17th. And what is also nice as well is if we minimize this and close out of this, we can actually go ahead and click on one of these vulnerabilities here. So let's click on the, click on any of these actually. Let's click on the 2.10.91.91. And let's go ahead and let's scroll down. Actually, there's nothing for Steam there. Let me just click on one of these vulnerabilities here and see if there is a Steam link for some of these, because some of these will actually have the Steam link and we will actually be able to see right here. So this one, which is the CVE 2019-17-180, which allows the file system. So we can actually click on the Steam powered news here, and it's actually going to bring us to the Steam client update released, and that was September 12th, 2019. And we can actually see that it fixed some of these escalation vulnerabilities and also the vulnerability that appending data to system owned files, which if we go ahead and click on that, we can actually see that that was this vulnerability. So you do have to be careful for these false positives. Just because you're seeing this version on through the Wazuh agent, the Wazuh agent seems to be pulling that version from the control panel and not from the actual Steam client. So just be aware of these false positives. You do have to actually still check to make sure if this vulnerability is actually a thing on your system. But the one that I'm actually interested in the most here is the Oracle VirtualBox 7.1.12 here. You're going to see that all these vulnerabilities came out in 2025. So if we go ahead and we click on this first one at the top here, we can actually see that it is easily exploitable, that allows high privilege attacker with log onto the infrastructure, executes to compromise the VirtualBox. And of course, this is just a medium attack, but if we go ahead and look at a bunch of these other ones, there is a high one as well, which then becomes that you can result in a takeover of the Oracle VM VirtualBox. So they can take over your VirtualBox environment, which is not a great thing for you if this happened. Now, the downside of VirtualBox is there is no auto updates, and we can see that the versions that are impacted are 7.1.12 and 7.2.2. Now, if you've been following this video series, you have 7.1.12 if you've been following it from the beginning, which has this vulnerability, which is great because we're able to test out Wazuh this way. We're also able to test out the patch management. So if we actually minimize this and we open up VirtualBox, we go file and we go check for updates, we will see that there is a new version found, and it is 7.2.4. So we can go ahead and we can actually update this right away if we really wanted to, and it would be fixed. But what I actually want to do is use this as a segue into the next video, which is not going to be next week because next week is holidays and I want everyone to enjoy their holidays, spend it with family and friends. And we're going to be taking a look at the patch management system. We're going to be taking a look at Action 1, which is a completely free patch management system. There are a lot of other patch management systems, but Action 1 lets you 200 endpoints completely for free, at least currently. We've seen across the series of this video, Nessus changed their free licensing, so it could definitely change in the future. But we're going to be taking a look at Action 1 to be able to perform patch management on our systems to try to maintain as much security as possible, because this one we have now seen is a actual vulnerability that we have on our system compared to the Steam vulnerability, which was a false positive. So again, it is very, very useful, but as always, you can't just simply rely on a dashboard to see, hey, I have a vulnerability. You actually have to go check to make sure if that vulnerability still exists, because false positives are a thing, and you don't want to be wasting time trying to fix something that doesn't actually exist. But you also maybe want to try different vulnerability management systems, like still scan the system with Nessus as well, because you could always have false negatives, which those are ones that you want to avoid at all costs, because if your vulnerability detection system doesn't detect a vulnerability that you do have, you are completely blind to it and cannot fix it, cannot mitigate it, which that you don't want. You'd almost rather have a false positive than a false negative. That is 100%. But that is really it for the vulnerability detection with Wazuh. And you guys were able to reset your password to your Wazuh dashboards in case you ever forget your password or misplace that tar file. And be sure to stay tuned for that next video with the Action 1 patch management. And also be sure, if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, hit that like button. Also, be sure to hit that notification bell to be notified when that next video comes out. And I will see you guys on the next video.